They killed Jesus. They killed Martin Luther King. And they killed Michael Jackson.
Recently, with the release of multiple pictures from the Epstein files, Michael Jackson was included in the documents. In response to this, I saw a viral tweet that said, "Gonna say it again. No celebrity has been a bigger victim of misinformation than Michael Jackson." And this got me thinking, because for the longest time growing up, I was told and believed that he bleached his skin, he was weird with kids, and a whole lot of other things. But is all of this really true, or are these just rumors and myths that have compounded over time and led people to just assume that they are? Well,
bro, the most untrue shit is like common knowledge at a certain point. Like niggas swear Michael Jackson was just bleaching his skin. Niggas did not know this nigga had vitiligo.
Today, I wanted to look into every major rumor or lie about Michael
Jackson. I know niggas that did not know
they started
until I told them that,
and if there's any truth to them. Just a quick disclaimer: this video is going to be as objective as possible, looking at only facts about Michael Jackson, his career, and the alleged lies told about him. I'm not going to try to abstain him from any wrongdoing. If you guys think I'm not being as objective as possible, feel free to tell me in the comments below. But I'm going to try to only give you guys the facts. With that being said, let's continue. Theories about Michael Jackson's skin color have been talked about his entire career, life, and even after his death, with many claiming that Michael Jackson chose to bleach his skin due to a range of different reasons. And since Michael actually confirmed getting plastic surgery on multiple occasions, notably on his nose and chin, many believe the skin bleaching rumors could be true. Growing up in the Jackson 5, you can clearly see that Michael and all his siblings had relatively similar medium brown skin tones. But from like the mid-80s and onward, Michael's appeared to gradually turn paler, to the point where eventually he almost looked ghastly. This progressive change in appearance got tons of widespread media coverage, including speculation that he had been bleaching his skin. But behind the scenes, Michael was meeting with doctors trying to figure it out. And in 1983, his dermatologist Arnold Klein said he noticed signs of vitiligo, a condition characterized by patches of the skin losing their pigment. However, that wasn't the only issue that Michael Jackson had with his skin, as in the following years, along with vitiligo, he was also diagnosed with a variation of lupus, which is an autoimmune skin condition that causes red, painful, inflamed lesions on the skin with a scaly and crusty appearance. These are both pretty stressful diagnoses to receive, especially when at this time he's rising to become one of the biggest stars in the world. Along with the physical issues from these conditions, there was also
comment your favorite Michael Jackson song.
So a lot of psychological issues that came with it as well. And this is where a lot of the skin bleaching rumors began to swirl. To combat his changing skin color, Mike resorted to the use of makeup. And aside from just makeup, it was also alleged that he possibly used prescription skin bleaching creams to cover up the uneven blotches of color caused by his illness. Again, when a lot of people think of skin bleaching, they might just imagine grabbing a jug of Clorox bleach and taking a bath. But that wasn't the case if he truly was bleaching his skin. And even if Michael was using the creams on specific uneven sections, that's definitely not what the bleaching rumors suggested, since the way they were talking about made it seem like Mike might have done a full body procedure or something. Although in combination of his use of
that too, but a lot of black people that thought that he was just bleaching his skin thought that Michael Jackson wanted to enhance his features to look white. I mean, damn, Drake just said that shit. But it's not true.
Makeup and alleged use of creams, Michael's vitiligo seemed to spread rapidly, which only fueled more theories and headlines. As the years went by, Michael often called and stayed close with his dermatologist and nurse, so much so that he actually started a relationship with his nurse Debbie Rowe, and eventually married her and had kids. So I guess his vitiligo affected him in more ways than you might have expected.
If you love new tech, but you don't want AI
no disrespect to people with vitiligo.
Fun in that, right? Check this plugin
out. The facial expression they had Mike doing
it wasn't widespread knowledge to the general public that his skin color changing was due mostly to his condition. So on top of all of the headlines, Mike at times was even called a lousy role model for black youth by some African-American psychologists.
For some shit he couldn't control.
Some people theorize that he was purposefully whitening himself to increase his pop culture appeal. To make things worse, many people who were close to Mike at some point or another often described their own alleged stories with Michael's skin. Like when filmmaker John Landis, who directed 2 music videos for Michael, said he had been shown Mike's bleached chest. He also claimed that the doctor who allegedly did it was a criminal. However, in 1993, a major shock came to the public when Michael appeared for an interview with Oprah Winfrey, during which she asked about his skin.
It has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done.
Niggas all the
doing,
famous niggas
bleaching your skin, and is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, There, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear, always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons.
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So
y'all hurting that nigga, bro.
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing.
Talking to you.
So later on in the interview, he did confirm that he used makeup, but he
Ariana
never touched on
Grande?
using bleach cream. This interview was viewed by around 90
I was gonna say
million
Bad
people,
Baby.
becoming
All
one of the
them-
most
all
watched
them-
TV
all
events
them
of
guilty.
all time. While his skin wasn't the only controversial topic they discussed, it was a big one. And as a result, followed a significant public discourse on the topic of vitiligo. On many occasions, Michael publicly said loud and clear that he was proud to be black, and on top of this, he was always against any sort of racism, saying things like, "Maybe I look at the world through rose-colored glasses, but I love people all over the world. That is why stories of racism really disturb me, because in truth I believe all men are created equal. I was taught that and will always believe it. I just can't conceive of how a person could hate another because of a skin color.
All men and
I love
women.
every race on planet Earth. Prejudice is the child of ignorance. Naked we come into the world and naked we shall go out. And a very good thing too, for it reminds me that I am naked under my shirt, whatever its color." This was clearly very tragic and tough for Michael to deal with, all these public
Yeah,
rumors.
seemed like the nigga had. He didn't even like the way he looked with this shit. And y'all niggas keep asking about the shit. Seemed like he just ain't want to talk about it.
He died, this discussion never ended. That's how when I was growing up as a kid, I was still
And then it's a whole interview. niggas on the internet believe everything, bro. It's a whole interview disproving all that shit. And niggas still believe this nigga was purposely bleaching his skin. You could be like, oh, maybe he was lying. He probably was lying. He ain't seem like he was lying, bro. He ain't seem like he was lying.
Friends and people that were older than me, pretty much everyone just kind of assumed that was the case. When he did tragically pass away, tubes of Binoquin and hydroquinone were found in his home, both of which are creams commonly used to treat vitiligo, often removing patches of darker skin amongst skin which has been lightened from the condition. And on top of all the other complex issues Mike went through because of his vitiligo, there were some more simple but just as frustrating ones as well, like severely increased sun sensitivity to depigmented skin, which can lead to a much higher risk in getting skin cancer. Many claim that the reason Mike often wore long sleeves and pants was to combat and hide his condition. And later in his autopsy, it was officially confirmed that he did have vitiligo. So while there may be a bunch of rumors saying this, that, or the third, Michael's skin was the way it was because of his condition, and he definitely wasn't pouring Clorox bleach all over himself to lighten his skin. But when
Stop posting y'all notes. $30, 3.5. I'm on the way. I'm not buying
on his body, his skin was not the only thing people talked about. After the holiday season we just had, making sure I can properly manage all of my money is very important to me, especially after not anymore. Tracking money is a great tool to know by now to the video. Aside from the confirmed cases of plastic surgery and others that are less confirmed, a major story fans gravitate towards is the castration rumors. Originally, a big part of people starting to consider this comes from the fact that Michael was able to hit insanely high notes. That and his, of course, infamously high-pitched speaking voice, which is also very debated, and I talked about it in another video. But after a few big news drops from a couple somewhat credible sources, the castration rumor got a whole new lineup of evidence, giving fresh momentum for theorists to rise. The first bombshell came from a French professor of vascular surgery named Alain Branchaud.
They set me up and schemed to ruin
I'm getting frustrated, bro. Is that it? What's that again? Pennywise? Got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Y'all go see Dead Man's Wire, bro. Pennywise and that shit.
Do not pay your next car insurance bill.
Why not?
Repeat. Do not.
Okay, just tell me why. Just tell me why. Just tell me why.
On this website and
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Who consulted with experts on voice physiology, dermatology, endocrinology, plastic surgery, and urology. In a book he wrote titled Michael Jackson, The Secret of a Voice, Elaine claimed that Mike was chemically castrated at the age of 12 using synthetic anti-male hormone drug cyproterone. One of the major ways he backs this up is
if for his own sake, I hope that's real. If this nigga wrote a whole book about a fantasy of a Michael Jackson at 12 years old being forcefully chemically castrated, you're a waste of breath, bro. You wrote a whole book about that, bro, and it didn't happen. Bro, this shit better have happened,
by
bro.
saying that Michael had really bad acne as a kid and that this drug could have been used to treat that. But due to the crazy side effect that it stunts puberty entirely, it seems like it would be a little drastic to use this for acne alone. Most people shook this off as a cash grab from some wacky French guy. But then when the doctor who spent time in prison for his role in Michael's death made similar claims, the headlines started popping up all over again.
He made similar claims? Okay.
Final days and his unique
What the fuck is going on?
Dating back to when Michael was 13, and according to what Murray claims,
unique
use of medications dating back to when Michael was 13, and according to what Murray claims Michael told him, he was given injections to stunt his growth in an effort to maintain his high vocal register.
To Michael's late term, Michael's words, he was chemically castrated.
Keep in mind, similar to the French guy, disgraced Dr. Conrad Murray was also pushing a book, which allegedly had a bunch of other secrets about Michael. I say disgraced.
See, they almost got me with the hook. He almost got me to purchase the book before he just said that shit.
Was actually
this was for the book
for Michael Jackson's death, giving him too much of an anesthetic, which resulted in an overdose. And apparently, he was
using a chemical castration as promotion, bro.
Him use this anesthetic every night to help him sleep, which you're not supposed to do. In his book, and apparently, he was letting him use this anesthetic every night to help him sleep, which you're not supposed to do. In his book, Conrad wrote pretty similar claims to the French guy, saying that the drug was technically used for acne, but more secretly for voice modulation. And if at this point you're a little confused on what castration is, here's the quick rundown. Typical castration is pretty much cutting off the balls, halting testosterone production almost entirely. Now, chemical castration has a similar effect, but it doesn't require you having to cut your balls off. It basically tricks your body with hormones to confuse or alter testosterone production in some way or another. So the whole reason Michael would have done this is to keep his voice high forever. And shockingly, this has historically been an odd yet common practice amongst performers. In the past, castration has been used for some pretty dark reasons. For example, they used to use it a lot in opera.
Out of my depth.
Dating back to the 16th century in Italy, male singers called castrato underwent castration to maintain their singing voices. This might sound like a crazy
Let me hear what this nigga just
called castrato use it a lot in opera. Dating back to the 16th century in Italy, male singers called castrato underwent.
So they named their shit after castration.
Castration to maintain their singing voices. This might sound like a crazy sacrifice to a lot of us, but to some performers, it's not really. Like one opera singer who told The Guardian in 2002 that I would have perfectly happily given up my masculinity for my art. While Michael Jackson obviously
it's your
had
desire,
amazing
bro.
vocal
It's
range throughout his life,
it's your
even
dream.
to the untrained ear, experts do argue that as he aged, his voice did in fact lose some range after puberty, even if not by much. And there was a few other major plot holes to this theory as well, like that the drug, even if not by much. Experts do argue that as he aged, his voice did in fact lose some range after puberty, even if not by much. And there was a few other major plot holes to this theory as well, like that the drug the Frenchman claimed was used when Mike was 12 was still in clinical trials in the 70s. And despite allegedly using the drug, Mike went through every other sign of puberty.
How the fuck his dad get that shit?
On top of that, pretty much every Jackson had a higher pitched voice. So was it more likely that they all got castrated, or is it more likely that it just runs in the family? Also, to shut down any doubt that maybe the Jacksons were somehow able to secure the clinical trial drug for off-label acne use, Michael's autopsy, which was released after his death in 2009, noted no abnormalities with his larynx as well as signs.
So niggas just saying shit,
building
bro.
your app.
That's what I'm saying.
On base
they almost
44.
had me because niggas be doing that shit, bro. But y'all niggas made that shit up to benefit off a nigga, bro. That's weird, bro.
Through puberty. It's also important to note that both of the major accusations
what is you doing as a human being?
He passed away, which is pretty common with celebrities because they're not actually alive. The major maladies with his larynx as well as signs of going through puberty. It's also important to note that both of the major accusations came after he passed away, which is pretty common with celebrities because they're not actually alive to rebuttal any of the comments. So it does seem like it's a cash grab, especially when they're pushing books. Even with some of Mike's unique circumstances, it's almost undeniable that he was
this the nigga too. You can tell this nigga shiesty
when they're pushing books.
Look at this nigga hairline. You can tell this nigga is shiesty. I can't even Michael should have known dealing with a nigga like this. Like what? This nigga is bound to do you slimy.
Of Mike's unique circumstances,
look at
it's
this.
almost undeniable that he was
got a ponytail in the back. That shit don't even hang.
Books. Even with some of Mike's unique circumstances,
Hold on. What the fuck? Man,
undeniable that he was not
R.I.P.
in fact
Michael Jackson,
castrated
bro.
in any way. Although with Michael,
You need
the
to watch
rumors
You
surrounding
Keep
his
Fucking
appearance
Around
might
You,
be
bro.
some of the less controversial headlines that he's been in, such as the recent thing with the Epstein files. I don't think I need to
Mike was
explain
making the
Jeffrey
wrong
Epstein stuff
decisions,
to you
bro.
guys, so I'm just going to assume you already know that,
Shit.
and I'm just going to get on with the Michael stuff. Early in 2024, it was reported to many viewers' surprise that Michael was connected to the whole Epstein ordeal. This was through unsealed documents from part of the 2015 lawsuit victim Virginia Giuffre filed against Ghislaine Maxwell, the late financier's girlfriend, who was convicted in 2021 of helping Epstein recruit and sexually abuse underage victims. During a deposition, Virginia's lawyer asked another victim questions about notable names she had encountered while with Epstein, specifically asking, "Did you ever meet anybody famous when you were with Jeffrey?" The victim responded saying, "I met Michael Jackson at his house in Palm Beach, at Jeffrey's house in Palm Beach." Then the lawyer asked further if she gave Mike a massage, to which she denied doing so. The major takeaway from this incident was that Mike was mentioned, but he was never accused of any wrongdoing. However, news pages obviously didn't really care much about his reputation, and they clickbaited viewers regardless. And since being mentioned in the same sentence as Epstein or the docs,
it's a dime
comes with
breed.
a lot of dark connotations.
If you watch the paper is it's a pretty good show. It's like a spinoff of The Office. I ain't gonna say it's pretty good. I may have gave it too much credit. I feel like the first season they did a lot, but it's not a breakdown. It just showed me that the clicking on an article shit and going through hella ads, that shit dying, bro.
Many people assumed the
That's a
worst.
dime.
For a while,
That's a
the
dime
Michael Jackson
way to
Epstein
get
connection
news.
died out a bit. Then in December of 2025, the big photo dump dropped, featuring tons of big names.
That nigga Michael look like a damn
in one photo,
figure.
Mike
He
is
don't
seen
even look
standing
in
next to
there.
Epstein in front of a
This shit
painting
look
depicting
fake.
a naked woman. However, this photo doesn't really provide much information. Apparently, it was taken at Epstein's Palm Beach place, which could be where the victim mentioned earlier that he met him. However, the photo released by the Department of Justice that everyone really focused on was with Michael, Bill Clinton, Diana Ross, and some redacted children. While Epstein wasn't pictured, it was still part of the release, and since Bill Clinton was in a ton of other Epstein stuff, theories went wild, especially because there's a bunch of redacted kids. Pretty much, the kids in the photo being redacted makes it seem like Michael, Bill, and Diana are up to some bad business. However, in reality,
every photo
the children pictured are Mike and Diana's kids, which was proven through people finding the other photos of the kids wearing the same clothes unredacted. And it was apparently taken the day Democrats held a fundraising event at the Apollo Theater to kick off a voter registration drive.
That's fucking the kid from
Epstein isn't even in
ATL,
that
right?
photo and isn't recorded as being at the event in general. But both of these pictures can leave you with some poor assumptions, as I'm sure you guys understand. Some people were wondering why Michael was even with Epstein. And a big part of Epstein's whole act was collecting famous people to groom his ego and make himself seem important. And since Michael was one of the most famous people on the planet at that time, it makes sense, with some stories claiming a potential single meeting between the two was about financial advice. Another reason these photos were released, specifically the one with the kids, is because the Department of Justice was ordered to release Epstein-related non-classified documents. So it doesn't mean that these are some deep, crazy secret photos that were hidden in a vault. Instead, it seems like Michael and Epstein being pictured together is pretty much a famous person coincidence, and headlines about it are clickbait. A trend which has obviously attacked Michael's infamous career and legacy for years, when he was alive and even after he passed. However, a big part of the reason why Michael Jackson being with Epstein was so believable to so many people was because of some of Michael Jackson's.
My doctor told me I needed to eat healthier to lower my A1C and naturally boost my GLP-1. I didn't know where to start until I found hunger.
Past accusations. One of the most well-known rumors about Michael Jackson revolves around his PDF file allegation. However, as widespread as the rumors are, not many people know the true story about how everything went down. For context, a lot of the info that people are aware of came from accusers on HBO's Leaving Neverland documentary. So again, a lot of that stuff is alleged, and the Jackson estate has denied it. It all dates back though to 1986, when Michael met James Safechuck on set for a Pepsi ad. James at the time was a young kid. After the ad began airing, Mike befriended James and his family.
You can watch that shit. Y'all want to watch that shit? If you want to watch that shit, if you made it this far,
it was at one particular vacation to Hawaii where Michael apparently first asked James to sleep in bed with him. Then some years later, in 1993, the LA police began investigating Michael Jackson. This was based on allegations that
let me stop talking over this nigga story.
And even flying the family out on vacations. It was at one particular vacation to Hawaii where Michael apparently first asked James to sleep in bed with him. Then some years later, in 1993, the LA police began investigating Michael Jackson. This was based on allegations that he possibly molested 4 children, including a 13-year-old boy. But the police found no incriminating evidence at Mike's Neverland Ranch or at his Los Angeles condo.
I don't know.
Allegations
I don't fucking
from
know,
the 13-year-old's family claimed that Michael was in love with the boy, and that Mike said, "Why don't you trust me? If we're a family, you've got to think of me as a brother. Why make me feel so bad? This is a bond. It's not about sex. This is something special." And from that,
people said I've always heard the story that like Michael Jackson was never a normal kid, and all he wanted was really like this type of bond, like a brother bond. So I don't know, cause it could be like I've seen a documentary. It looked like this nigga was beat pretty bad, bro, to be a show monkey, bro. Not a show monkey per se, but he was bred to be a fucking star, and that's a lot.
Forward, the 13-year-old allegedly slept with Mike nearly every night for the next several months. Then later that year, the family attempted to sue Michael, alleging that he had repeatedly committed sexual battery on their son. However, Michael's legal team denied these allegations, claiming the suit was part of an effort to extort him for around $20 million. More than a decade later, though, it was revealed that Michael settled the suit for even more than that. And as part of the settlement, Michael denied any wrongdoing. Then the following year, it was made public that prosecutors weren't filing criminal charges against Michael because the primary alleged victim declined to testify. During the investigation and throughout the civil case, Michael and his team put several young boys on the stand to testify, with all of their stories playing a heavy role in Michael's defense. But then, out of nowhere, came a bombshell when his own sister LaToya publicly blasted him for the controversy.
Michael is my brother.
She looked just like his
ass.
What the fuck?
But I cannot, and I will not, be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children.
What the fuck?
If I remain silent, then that means that I feel the guilt and the humiliation that these children are
bro,
feeling.
real life is a movie.
Wrong. I have seen checks payable to the parents of these children, and I don't know if these children were apparently bought the parents by Michael or not.
I don't fucking know.
But I have seen these checks, and I've seen these checks through my mother. She showed me these checks that Michael had written to these children, and it's for a great amount. But I think it's sad because I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life, and I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way.
However, after the press conference, members of Michael's family came to his defense, like his mother, who claimed that LaToya was straight up lying, all in order to make a profit off of Michael's downfall. And in a strange twist, in 2011, LaToya retracted her allegations in autobiography,
if that's true, that's
that
crazy.
Her abusive husband at the time forced her to say that. For a few years after this scandal in the mid-90s, it seemed like things were going to go back to normal.
And she ain't take no accountability. How my abusive husband told me to do it. Not saying that she wasn't getting abused, but boy, you didn't have to say that.
2003, the Living with Michael Jackson documentary aired, which was packed full of even more similar allegations to the first one. Again, after the documentary aired, Michael issued a statement saying he was devastated by his portrayal and denied any wrongdoing. And then because of this, another criminal investigation was started. Eventually, because of this, Michael was booked on child molestation charges, and Neverland Ranch was raided again. Soon after this, Michael was indicted on 10 criminal counts. But since courts are pretty slow, Michael's trial didn't start till 2005. This time, it was the child featured in Living with Michael Jackson that was the primary accuser. And again, Mike had his own lineup of kids testify in his defense, notably including Macaulay Culkin, who Mike had a close personal relationship with.
The focus instead was on the defense's celebrity witness, the actor Macaulay
I just fought with Macaulay Culkin, bro.
The prosecution had suggested that in the early 1990s, he was one of a number of young boys who'd been
you know, you always got them type of niggas that you just fuck with, like Michael Cera, Jonah Hill, Macaulay Culkin. No Diddy though, no Diddy. These are cool niggas. I mean, like Michael Cera, he was Scott Pilgrim. He was a nigga in Superbad. Jonah Hill was also the nigga in Superbad.
In this trial,
other funny niggas. He played
really
War
dark and
Dogs.
disturbing allegations made against Michael Jackson. And even if he didn't do any of them, this would permanently ruin his reputation. What makes things worse about this whole trial is that years later, multiple kids came out and said they lied during their testimony or while speaking to prosecutors. Some lied in defense of Mike and some lied against, which in combination with other victims coming forward makes the whole situation really murky. Nonetheless, though, Michael was technically fully acquitted of all charges in 2005. And within months of the trial, one of the victim's mothers was charged with fraud and perjury related to statements made at the trial, which is another point of contention in the what is and what isn't true of all of this. As more time passed, more posthumous lawsuits aimed towards the Jackson estate, alleging similar crimes as before.
I mean, he got.
I don't know if I've said it.
I mean, he got acquitted on 9 counts. I don't know.
This whole thing was very confusing, and that's why the public doesn't fully understand it, because it's hard for the people involved to even understand it, especially since one of the victims who was part of the new suit was one of the kids that retracted his statement years earlier, claiming he lied on stage. Since these victims waited so long, though, the judge wiped out their suits. And in 2019, when the earlier mentioned Leaving Neverland documentary dropped, more lawsuits came, but this time from Michael's estate towards HBO. Overall, this entire thing is very messy and very confusing on both sides.
I'm so confused.
Obviously, Michael did have some undeniably weird behavior with children, and people arguing in his favor tend to say it's because he had a weird childhood and he was a little mentally
That's
not
what
right,
I said.
but he never meant anything bad by it. On the flip side, lots of people lied in the trial, some against him and some for him. And fans of Michael Jackson tend to assume that the reason so many people were lying was so that they could extort him for money. And since it worked with the first people who did it, that opened the door for everyone else to try and do it as well. However, if we're only talking facts here, Michael Jackson was never convicted of anything. But at the end of the day, this is probably the main rumor or allegation that we will never know the actual truth about. He definitely had some weird behavior, but is that enough to technically say that he was actually a terrible person who did all of these horrible things? I don't think we could ever fully know for sure if that's true. I've talked about other theories in regards to Michael Jackson before on this channel, but one that actually might be true is the fact that he lied about his voice being so high, actually having a deeper natural speaking voice. And if you want to learn more about this, make sure to click the video that's on screen.
We may watch
right
that.
Now.
I don't know. I'm not watching that fucking ad. Do we watch Leaving Neverland? I don't know why I said Neverland like that. Hopefully it came out fire as fuck on the mic. I'm high as hell. Michael Jackson, was he a bad guy? Was he a good guy? Tell me in the comments, man. I think personally, what do I think? I can't tell y'all niggas to tell me in the comments. I don't even got my own opinion. I think he's done some questionable stuff. The fact is, he's been acquitted on all the charges, but it be shit that like don't go through, and I think is like not right. Like the Tory Lane shit. I don't know. Tory Lane shit. I don't know if Tory Lane shot makes that. I ain't gonna lie. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I ain't gonna lie. I took that video down because I think it was badly. It don't matter. Was Michael Jackson bad? I think he was alright. He was alright. Just confused, misunderstood. Except for the PDF stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Because I don't know if he was a PDF. But was he a PDF? Because all the kids, they were saying that, oh yeah, I lied, he didn't do nothing to me. Oh yeah, no, I lied, he did do something to me when I say he didn't. It's murky, bro. That shit is murky, bro. That's crazy. Like, and it's like, maybe you put yourself out of all of that and be like, damn, he shouldn't even have been in these situations. Maybe I'm gonna just say that, bro. RIP the icon, man. But you shouldn't have been in these situations. You trusted niggas with ponytails don't hang and shit. I don't know what you're doing, Mike. RP, bro. RP.